Hello, guys, and welcome back to Accounting Fun once again. So, today, what we are going to do is discuss each and every component of balance sheet in very detailed form, in very detailed manner, starting with the assets part of it. So, assets, as I already told you, that what are assets? So, they are basically anything that is owned by the company, that is used to generate revenue for their business. Now, let us see what are the various component of assets. First of all is non-current assets. Non-current assets are generally those assets which took a longer period of time to get converted into cash. They are generally not meant for the resale purpose, but they are basically an investment for the company, and operational activities are carried out through these non-current assets. The first component of non-current assets are fixed assets. So fixed assets are those assets which you can which have a physical presence basically, and there are some fixed assets which have a non-physical presence also. So as fixed assets having a physical presence are called tangible assets, whereas fixed assets which do not have a physical presence, that means you can't see, touch or feel them, but they have an existence in a non-physical form, are called as intangible assets. So examples of tangible assets could be the furniture which you are using in your business, the machinery, land, plant, building. All these are tangible fixed assets. If I have to tell you about the intangible fixed assets, it comprises of patents, trademark, copyright. These are the intangible assets. Third is the capital work in progress. Now there are certain assets which aren't completed. You might have seen there are a lot of construction work going around you, right? So that is what the capital work in progress. That is not, the building is not completed yet. It is under progress. So that's why it's a capital work in progress. Fourth thing is intangible assets under development. Now, you might know that companies do a lot of expenditure on research and development. Through this research and development, they keep on continuously developing something new, and uh, they basically claim a patent for most of these things. So that is what intangible assets under development means. When any asset is under kind of reviewing or so, then it is called as intangible assets under development. You have applied for the patent, copyright, anything, and you are still waiting for it getting approved. B is next is non-current investments. So investments which are not of current nature. That means you are going to use them for a longer purpose. So here you are not manufacturing anything, not you are manufacturing building machinery anything, but rather you are purchasing it directly. So that's why it's a non-current investment. So any kind of investment done in building, plant, machinery, land is called as non-current investment. Third is deferred tax assets net. So any kind of asset that is being generated through tax, many times you claim for the income tax and then you get returns, right? So that is what deferred tax assets net means. Long-term loans and advances which is have a lifespan of more than 1 year, which you have given. Here you haven't taken the loan and advances, right? If you take them, it becomes your liability. Here you have given the long-term loans and advances for a period of more than 1 year. That's why it's an asset for your company. And then other non-current asset. Any other asset which is not classified under the above mentioned categories will come under the other non-current assets. Second are the current assets. Now, current assets include your current investment, basically investment in any kind of stocks, and then you have work in progress in inventory also. Inventory is basically consists of stock that is in trade, work in progress, and then finished goods also is there. So inventory comprises of three things: finished goods, stock in trade, and then work in progress. Trade receivables. So basically, every time you don't sell your goods for cash, right? You sell sometimes them on credit. Against that credit, you receive trade receivables or the debtors. So trade receivable comprises of your debtors also. Next, moving on, we have non-current assets, fixed asset. Now we are going to look at each and every component in a very deep. So tangible assets are classified into land, building, plant and equipment, furniture and fixture, vehicles, office equipment, others. Anything that could be classified under the nature of tangible fixed assets will come under this category. Intangible assets, the goodwill, brands, trademark, any kind of software, publishing title, books are there, recipes, formulas, models, design, prototypes, license and franchisee. These aren't visible. They don't have a physical existence. You can't touch feel them, but they exist, so that's why they are intangible assets. Next, we have within tangible assets, assets under lease to be disclosed. So if there is any kind of asset which is under lease, that is to be disclosed. What is the lease period and all, And for both these tangible and intangible assets, reconciliation of carrying amounts at the beginning and the end reporting periods to be given, that is given under the balance sheet statement. So additions, disposal, acquisitions through business, combination, other adjustment, depreciation, amortization, impairment, losses, reversals to be disclosed. Now depreciation is and amortization is another totally separate chapter which we will be discussing in our later session. But let me give you a brief intro about it. So depreciation is basically, it's a kind of a value reduction of an asset. So, because an asset is with you for a longer period of time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, but the value doesn't remain same, right? It deteriorates because the quality of the asset also keep on deteriorating with the time. Only land is an example of this. The land value appreciates rather than depreciating. So what happens, like as soon as the asset, fixed tangible asset get become older and older, so it depreciates, its value reduces. And then this depreciation is a certain kind of percentage amount which is being charged. This depreciation has two methods, the straight line method and the written down value method. And the sums written off or added or revaluation of assets. So you again revalue your asset, or at the time of selling you deduct the depreciation part of it, and then you calculate that whether it's a profit for you, whether it's a loss. Now we will be looking into the non-current investments. So it will be classified again into two parts. First is the trade investments and second is the other investments. And other investment, it could be an investment in property, equity instruments, preference share, any kind of investment which a firm makes, that is called as the non-current investment in share market, equity market, mutual funds, partnership firm. And then you need to disclose separately of each and every investment and the aggregate amount of quoted investment and its market value also. Moving on, we move to long-term loans and advances. So long-term loans and advances consist of your capital advances, security deposits, and then loans and advances to the related parties. So capital advances include any kind of capital which is being given by you in advance to anyone, and then you will generate benefit out of it at a later part of it. So that's why it's an asset for you. Security deposit, someone has deposited certain kind of security to you against their loan, they have mortgage kind of things. Then you need to classify it. Is it a secured? Is it an unsecured? It's a good or is it doubtful asset, right? And then you also need to make provisions for bad and doubtful debts. That is called as provision for bad debts or provision for doubtful debts. And then loans and advances due by directors or other officers or any other person. So amount due by them will become an asset for you. Now, moving on, we have other non-current assets, which includes your long-term trade receivables, other disclosing its nature. So it could be secured. Again, the same thing, like as of the long-term loans and advances. Now, non-current assets include your, as I mentioned earlier, land, building, machinery, equipment. This is just a kind of a performer of that. Now we are going to see what's the cost principle. So an asset must be carried on the statement of the financial position at the amount paid for it. So basically what cost principle tells you that the cost of an asset is equal to the sum of the all of the costs incurred to bring the asset to its intended purpose. It doesn't mean that only the cost of manufacturing or purchasing that asset, but rather than any other, like installation cost is there. When you purchase any kind of new electrical equipment, say television or AC, you have installation charges also for that, you have repair and maintenance charges also for that. So anything that consider the cost of bringing that asset to the company premises will consider the cost of asset. Now I'm going to show you a little example. See, here you have purchased a land for $5 lakh, and then you have related cost also, back property tax, stamp duty, and all, then removal of building. So now here you are going to sum up the entire cost. That will be of 5 lakh 54,000. Now that would be the cost of your land. You see, improvements, any kind of paving, fences, repair and maintenance. As I told you, building is under construction. So what all you're going to pay under the building? Material cost, labor cost, overhead cost, right? Then machinery, you have purchase cost. If you have purchases through any agent, and that agent will be charging you commission, repairing or renovation of building. And then you have next I'm going to tell you about a different thing. This is for the machinery, purchase price and all. Now, I'm going to tell you about the finance leases. So, what are finance leases? So, basically, they are lease arrangements similar to installment purchases. Basically, like you might have heard nowadays, a term is very popular, that is EMI. You can purchase anything on EMI. You have equal monthly installments for that, and then you need to pay a little bit of kind of interest, which is a charge on that, and then you can buy that asset. So, rather than paying a one-time cost for it, you can pay out EMI for this. How are you going to capitalizing the cost of interest? EMI, as I mentioned. So suppose on 1st October 2014, you borrow a 10 lakh dollar loan for a 10% to build a warehouse. Now what is your interest going to be on this for 1 year? So your year will be ending on 31st March 2015. Sorry, it will be 31st March 2015. So it will be for 6 months. In 6 months the interest will be 50,000. See, now how you're going to do the journal entry for this. So building interest payable 50,000 accrued interest. Lump sum purchases. Now this is an example where you have made a lump sum purchase. So you have purchased the land and building for combined for $1,10,000. The land is appraised as 90,000 and building at 60,000. Now what is the purchase price? Now it is appreciated. So 90,000, 60,000, 1,50,000, right? So 90,000 divided by 1,50,000, that is around 60% somewhere, and again 1,10,000, 60% will be 66,000. So it was appreciated up to 66,000 and building is appreciated up to 44,000. Now I'm going to show a very important difference regarding what are the regular expenses and what are the capital expenditures. So capital expenditure is basically any kind of expenditure that you incur on your non-current assets or your fixed asset. That includes your capital expenditure. Because these all non-current assets are a part of your capital only, you're going to use them to generate revenue for your business. And then what are expenses? Debit, repairs and maintenance account basically. Okay, so repairs and maintenance, then you pay salary and all, wages, all these include your revenue expenses. How are you going to account for the revaluation of a non-current assets? So it is basically done by its assets are to be recorded at a cost or fair value. That is the book value of it. And then upwards revaluation are credited to owner's equity and then downwards revaluations are debited to expense. If it's an upward revaluation and increase, then they are credited to owner's equity. If it's a downward revaluation or a decrease, then they are debited to expense. For depreciable assets, the accumulated depreciation is credited against the assets. Simple. Now, this all which whatever we have done till now was for tangible assets. Moving on to intangible assets. Now, there is a separate term which is used for the depreciation of intangible assets, which is called as amortization. So now you might have heard of intangible assets like patents, copyrights, trademarks, franchising, goodwill. These assets do not have a physical existence. See, it's certainly are not physical in nature, but they are basically non-physical. So they are getting amortized. That means their value are reduced on the basis of amortization. Now, here is an example of patents. So patent, like the holder have the right to produce and sell an invention for 20 years. So $1,70,000 I acquire a patent on 1st July. Now I believe that the useful life is 5 years. So how am I going to record it? Now see, 1st April, beginning of the year, patents to cash. You acquired for 1,70,000, right? When for the closing entry, amortization expenses. Now you said that 20 years is going to be, 5 years is going to be its life. So for 5 years, what will be the amortization cost? 34,000, right? The formula is basically cost of asset upon estimated life. Okay, cost of asset upon estimated life. Same formula is for depreciation also. Then you got the amortization expenses 34,000 and then you got the cost of amortizing a patent. Moving on, we have copyrights. So copyrights could be like any kind of books, novels, movies, software, other work of art. They are copyrighted basically. So you might have seen during a movie or during when you read a book, there might be written copyrighted, or there is some kind of a symbol that is allocated to that it is copyrighted to be published by this publishing house or this is copyrighted by this writer, because they are there own entity, like trademarks. So trademarks include the any kind of symbol that your business has that is being represented to your business and all. The brand name, anything is included in the trademark. Franchisees. So you might have been sometimes to McD, Subway, Pizza Hut, right? So what these basically these organizations don't have a their outlet at one place. They have outlets at multiple places. So these outlets at multiple places are called as franchisees. So these are basically the privileges which are granted by private business or government to sell a product or a service. Moving on, we have goodwill. So goodwill is basically like, I suppose that my business has a very good value, right? If it's a very good value, then there might be it might be due to the reputation. Goodwill is basically a reputation of a business. If in a simple terminology I have to explain you this, so goodwill is reputation of a business. Now see, here in this question, a purchase price for Vishwa company is $10 million. So it has a $10 million valuation. Assets are marked at 9 million, sorry. Less Vishwa's liabilities is of 1 million. So basically market value is 8 million only, right? But I have valued my company at 10 million. So this extra $2 million is my goodwill for which I am charging for. So that's all for the assets part of it. In my next slide, like the non-current assets part of it, in the next session, we are going to discuss more about the current assets, the non-current liabilities, and current liabilities. Hope you like the video and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.